It's crazy. And I think a big part of it is, unfortunately, people want to either cash in on this, or they are intentionally spreading disinformation, or they have some other agenda that's going to benefit them and not this community. And unfortunately, it's full of people like that. And unfortunately, they probably had some at the conference too, you know?
100%, I would agree. And I've even been accused of being some sort of huckster profiteer
Oh,
by
yeah.
creating my documentaries. But look, I'm not funded by Prometheus or, um, that's the History Channel, folks. I'm
Right.
not funded by Gaia. I am like solo. I am my own researcher and I can make my own stories based off of what I do with my research and what I am interested in seeing um, as a member of the community. And it's been a really interesting time because I feel like my whole life I've been waiting for some kind of event like this to take place where
Right.
in mainstream media, UFOs are being discussed as being credible, amongst politics, news, mainstream sports news, celebrity news. What are the Kardashians doing today?
Yeah, exactly.
What are the Royals doing? Whatever, right? Like this is now up there alongside the same news, and there's still people that are smirking and skeptical of the whole thing. But I think what adds to the smirking, what adds to the knee slap, knee jerk reaction of people that are not educated at all on this history, this subculture narrative, so to speak, is that there's infighting happening in our own field of research, of researchers, and no one, because the argument that comes out of these civilian research groups is not aligned, we all look like a bunch of crazy idiots. We all
Right.
look like a bunch of uh, dissidents, and that's disappointing. If we had the best and brightest folks, which I think Richard Dolan is one individual that represent the history of the cover up and national security interest and so on in the United States, um, in UFOs,
Yeah, I really
then
enjoyed his presentation. It was a good one.
he's always got a good presentation. And that's because he has a really refined message that is logical. It's not full of rainbows and magic sort of hoo ha that we hear from other folks in the field that, want to relate their new age spirituality to UFOs. Um, and he just comes from it from sort of a fact-based record of what we know and what has happened in the past and what could happen in the future, and I like that about him. But what I'm saying is, in the disclosure debate, you have too many people that are paranoid, that are pushing their own agenda, like you were saying, people that are um, creating their own story that will then give them their own followers, and those followers will probably give them time, money, and attention, and make their cause bigger. And that makes us look bad as a community. It also makes the issue look less credible to the mainstream because you've got these pilots and Luis Elizondo, who are stepping to the front of this whole phenomenon and saying, look, this is real. I experienced this and it should be taken seriously. And there's all kinds of data that we've collected from a Pentagon research program, ATIP. And, you know, instead, we've got all these almost like religious cult leaders from the UFO research community coming out of left and right field, attacking them and feeling threatened or something, or trying to make it seem like what they're doing is this false flag, attempt on humanity. And we just don't know that that's
Right.
the truth.
We don't. And I like to stay right in the middle on this one because, just like you said, we don't know what's going on. Although I have a bad, I guess you could say a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to things that come from our own government and things that are coming from our own media, especially lately, just with everything that's happened. So I can't say that I completely trust this disclosure that is coming out of the mainstream media, and especially from Lou Elizondo and things like this. But I think it's fascinating. I think it's great that they're opening up the discussion in the mainstream and people are actually looking at it more seriously. But I don't know. I think that it is something to be kind of cautious of, just because my general mistrust of the government, I guess. Can't hear you. I think you may be muted or something.
Sorry. Yes, I do agree that there should be some skeptical approach to what is unfolding, but not to the point that we've thrown the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, if you think about it, this event is still vindicating to us as a group of civilian
Definitely. Oh,
researchers that
yeah.
have been following all of this phenomenon for many years, that has gone unacknowledged. It's funny, unacknowledged is the name of a documentary made with Stephen Greer, and now we're getting acknowledgement, and this guy is pissed off.
That is
but
kind of funny.
but and I love Stephen Greer. I think he's done so much for the community and for the study by bringing all these credible witnesses, more folks than Luis Elizondo and his group. So I don't discount what he's done, but I just worry that this time in history might be the best shot we have at legitimizing what all these civilian researchers have been doing for many years now to prove that this phenomenon is real. And it's too bad. Maybe at one point, Stephen Greer and some folks had reached out to Luis Elizondo and tried to build a bridge in order to work together. And there was some rejection there. And that's why there's all this infighting going on. But I do know that Richard Dolan has reached out to Luis Elizondo. They did like a little conference recently and talked about disclosure and what's happening. And more than 200 people attended that. And it was a smashing success in terms of the dialogue that went on between a civilian researcher in the UFO field that's highly credible and Luis Elizondo. So why can't people like Stephen Greer do the same thing?
That's a
why
good
can't
point.
why can't other civilian researchers, because that's what they are, engage in a polite and less paranoid way that isn't headline grabbing and doesn't sort of hurt the way we all look. And there's a lot of people that are probably listening to your show or watching it, and they're listening to me speak and they go, this guy's a young gun, he doesn't know what he's talking about, and he should shut his mouth and let the adults run the discussion. And it's like, dude, no, everybody has a voice in this current thing that's going on. And some people have louder voices than me, and they're taken way more seriously. And I think those people are crazy, attention seeking, sort of delusional folks, to say the least. But what I'm trying to get to is, when I make my documentaries, I try to accurately represent the past and acknowledge the past of UFO contact experiencer information that has happened in this research. And therefore, when I acknowledge that past accurately, I'm respecting it, and I'm respecting the people that came before me. So I would expect people that see me respecting the past, respect me in the present, regardless of who I am in their small perception of them knowing me online or something like that. And, I guess I'll get into this personal attack that was happened
man.
to me.
I was just about to mention that. It's a mutual acquaintance we have. And speaking of giving the UFO community a bad name, this gentleman, I'm not going to say his name. You'll figure it out because I'll just say he is a extreme Billy Meyer promoter, is what I'll say. And he's been around on the scene for a long time. I've interviewed him a long time ago and have not had him back on. He was just a little bit rude and, I don't know, nasty. The whole interview, he was attacking other UFO researchers. So if you want to go look at that, it's way back in my archives, but I don't recommend it. But he recently attacked you pretty good because you just mentioned Dolan in a message, right?